the Bob. 2-3-4 for the Diamondbacks here in the 5th inning. J. Bell, Luis Gonzalez, Matt Williams. 3-run third for Arizona. Wiped out a 1-0 lead by the Mets. Bases loaded walk to Greg Colburn with 2 out, and then a 2-run single by Steve Finley in a close play at the plate in which Williams scored. J. Bell looks at ball 2. And the Mets are in a different position here, Ray. If you look at Monday's game, Tuesday's game, Monday against Cincinnati, Tuesday's game here in Arizona, and now tonight. After the Diamondbacks got the 3 runs in the 3rd inning, and now the 4th, and now, of course, the Mets will end the 5th inning here behind. These are the only 3 innings of these 3 games that the Mets have trailed, most of which they've led. 15 of the 23 innings they've led. They've been tied for 5, and now these 3 innings they've trailed. Bell with a sharp single to left field, and he leads off with an important leadoff base runner for Arizona. Now let's go back a little bit farther. The 3 games series the Mets had to win, which were really must-wins against Pittsburgh. 2 of them which were tight, 1 in extra innings, but yet if you add that in, they trailed one of those games 1-0 for 3 innings, and now these 3 innings here. The point is, as much as the Mets' backs have been against the wall, the 52 innings played from Friday to now, they've trailed for only 6. This is a new position for them. Not that they're not good enough to come back from 2 runs down, but it's a little different view. At what point do you press a little bit? Do you at all if you're them? Not the way they've been going. Huh?
No, I don't think so. 2 runs is nothing to them. I mean, they certainly might start pressing here if Arizona puts a 2 or 3 spot on the board. But no matter what, they're going to go home 1-1, and they've got a victory coming out of here playing away regardless of what happens in this ball game.
And if you're looking ahead, the best 2 pitchers they've had down the stretch, as we mentioned, Reed and Leiter, are going when Arizona's best 2 pitchers have already worked. And they're going to go with Dahl in game 3 and Brian Anderson, not Andy Bennis, in game 4. So on paper, advantage to the Mets in the pitching in New York. However, on paper, Randy Johnson against Masato Yoshi, advantage Arizona. That didn't work out. As somebody once said, Ray, that's why they play the games.
Yeah, Omar Dahl can pitch, Boomer. I'm not so sure that matchup right there does not. If it doesn't favor Arizona, it certainly is an even matchup with the way Rick Reed has pitched his last couple of outings. Certainly that 4.58 is not Rick Reed-like.
Not that we've seen those last 3 outings where he's come up big.
But a lot of hitters talk about Dahl being very difficult because of that tight slider, and he's got that real herky-jerky motion, 3/4, and the ball just moves everywhere. So he's not an easy draw for any hitter.
Gonzalez 2 for 3 last night and is 0 for 0 tonight. Walked and then was hit by pitch, so he's been aboard 4 times. 80 pitches already, huh?
Not too bad. We're talking through 5 innings. If you had 15 pitches, that would be 75. So he's just a little heavy with his pitch count. When I say 15 pitches,
a little action in the bullpen. We saw Dotel earlier, and that's Pat getting closer to Mahomes. For you Grand Funk Railroad fans, Bobby's probably a Grand Funk Railroad fan. That's about the right era.
I did some research, Chris, about 5 or 6 years ago on starting pitchers in pitch count, because so much has gone as far as focus on pitch count. And so I started charting major league games and looking at the records and the earned run averages, and I came up with 15 pitches per inning per outing for those pitchers that had a 500 record or better and under a 4 earned run average. Now that changes a little bit when you're talking about a power pitcher like Randy Johnson. He'll throw 17, 18 pitches per inning. But generally 15 pitches is a good barometer.
They fooled him there. That was a frisbee that Gonzalez strikes out on. 5 Ks. 6 Ks now for Rogers. 12th year providing aerial TV coverage of sporting and special events. The MetLife blimp Snoopy 2 working with us tonight. And we thank the gentlemen. If there aren't ladies up there right now, I'm sure involved with all of the MetLife and the blimps. And that's it for Rogers. With Matt Williams coming up, the right-handed hitter. Rogers is tiring. They'll bring in the righty, Pat Mahomes. The wheels turn at the bottom. That's it for Kenny Rogers, removed with 1 out here in the 5th inning with his team trailing 3-1. And the new pitcher, Mahomes, has sparkled at times, Ray, for the Mets, Pat Mahomes.
Well, he really has. 29 years old. Pat Mahomes spent the last 2 years in AAA, starting pitcher for Minnesota, and struggled there. Went to Boston, struggled in the starting rotation. The Mets acquired him, and he actually went to Japan. And then he played in AAA earlier this year. Put him into the bullpen, and he's done a great job for him out of the bullpen.
Yeah, how about 8-0?
Yeah, one of those guys that had a tough time as a starting pitcher getting around the lineup more than one time. So now he's in an ideal situation, middle to long relief, so he can face 5, 6, 7, 8 hitters for you. And right-handers just hitting 185 off of him.
Hands to diving Ordonez. Williams is aboard again. Bell making the turn, but with the ball right there in center field, he was going nowhere. So Matt Williams, who really struggled and kind of got a gift base hit his last time up with a little 50-footer, that was more Williams-like, driven into center field. So he's 2 for 3 tonight.
Well, there's always tough matchups for a pitcher, and Matty Williams likes the ball hard. He likes the fastball. He can hit the slider, but he has a little trouble with a changeup or the slow curveball. Mahomes more of a fastball, curveball, slider type pitcher. Everything pretty much the same speed, certainly more Matt Williams-like.
Matty-like. Greg Colburn doubled and walked. Made his presence felt tonight in the platooning with Buck Showalter. Breaking ball by Mahomes, misses ball 1.
The way that Buck Showalter put this lineup together with Colburn hitting after Williams, right? Cook is up in the bullpen. Finley, a left-hander, Gilkey, a right-hander with the left-handers on the bench. Makes it pretty hard for Bobby to do anything to counter, because whatever he does to counter a move by Buck can come right back with Lenny Harris or Durazo from the left side.
Ball inside to Colburn. That was almost directly behind him. He was kind of getting around him.
A little short on the right side of the plate with just Hanley Frias and Damian Miller, who's tender. Ward, switch hitter over there.
Is nudging in behind the base runner Bell a little bit, trying to deke him so that maybe he doesn't have an automatic score from second base on a single.
Another thing too about Colburn and Gilkey, both, they have been everyday players, and now that they're platooning here, they faced a lot of right-handed pitching, so it's not something that's foreign to them. Colburn playing every day in Miami, having a big year down there. Gilkey all those years with the Cardinals, and that big year in '95 with the Mets. Actually '96, where he hit 30 home runs.
That's foul. We'll do it again. Bell back to second. Williams back to first.
Mahomes, when he was with Minnesota, was a straight four-seam fastball pitcher and a curveball. He had a big breaking curveball, pretty much 12-6 straight up and down north and south, and just didn't have a third pitch. Now he's developed a slider, a changeup with Dave Wallace. Tries to get ahead with a first pitch fastball and then get you out with spotted sliders and curveballs.
Very athletic player. As you see him jogged in from the bullpen, was runner-up Mr. Basketball in Texas. Steve Finley, the man that put the Diamondbacks into the lead with a 2-run, 2-out base hit in the third, is on deck. Pitches inside just to finish up with Mahomes. Lindale, Texas, and you're right with the Twins, and that was a different sort of pitcher.
Situation 3-2 now going to be interesting. If Buck sends the runners here, as Matty Williams watches and sees what Jay Bell's going to do.
Not a lot of speed with Bell and Williams. He does not send him, and we'll do it again. I wouldn't think so with Finley up next. I mean, you do run the chance of getting one of them gunned out.
Yeah, and also it depends on what you feel about the pitcher-batter matchup. If you don't think Coburn is going to put the ball in play, you certainly don't run them. But what it does, it makes both of those infielders in the middle of the infield move. It makes the third baseman have to go to cover the bag at third base, so it creates a lot of holes. I like running here 3-2.
He did not the first time. He does not this time. And Coburn, who drove in a run with a bases loaded walk, looking for another base on balls, doesn't get it. Struck out looking. 2 down for Finley now.
Had to be looking for the breaking ball because this is just fastball right there.
Yep.
And that's one thing. Once you get to 2 strikes, you look for the fastball and adjust to the breaking ball, and Coburn just locks up on that inside pitch. Couldn't pull the trigger. Pretty good spot, too.
So here's Steve Finley. 2 ribbies tonight. 1 for 2. Finley already in his 11th season, but he doesn't slow down at all, does he, Ray? He had 7 multi-homer games this year, by the way, which only McGuire had more. 9. He and Barry Bonds had 7. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily think that he would have as much as just about anybody else. He gets in a groove, he gets going. So
last year,
we're getting going. I'm sorry.
Last year in San Diego, he just hit 14 home runs and hit 249. A lot of people thought he'd slowed down after having 30 home runs and 28 home runs in 96 and 97. But everybody has a bad year every once in a while. Keeps himself in pristine shape. I'll tell you what, he knows how to play this game. And Buck Showalter talked about perfectionist. I said that probably Steve Finley is as big a perfectionist as he's had in any ballpark.
Swinging at 3-0. The count now 3-1.
Meaning that he goes out, he works hard in spring training. He knows he's not going to be perfect, but he tries to practice and prepare perfectly so that when game time comes, he's as good as he can be. A lot of people go out and lollygag during practice and don't really give their best effort, and you'll never see that in Steve Finley. He's all business all the time.
Ripped to left center field. Bell will score easily. This goes all the way to the wall. Williams being arranged around third. The throw comes in. They won't even contest it. Finley delivers again. 5-1 Arizona. Instead of 2 home run games, it's 2 two-run single games, both Ray with 2 out.
Fastball away. Steve Finley hit it perfectly. I mean, perfectly. Just driving that ball outside part of the plate. Didn't try to do too much with it. Didn't roll over the top of it. Extended those arms inside the baseball and drove it out there. What a sweet stroke that was.
Single and double for Finley and 4 RBIs and a fastball to Gilkey is up high for a ball. And Buck Martinez last night, 3 2/3 of 1-hit relief for the Mets. Not tonight.
Well, Pat Mahomes has been good down the stretch, but those 2 big hits for the Diamondbacks could be pivotal. Last night, Cook, Wendell, and Benitez shut down the Diamondbacks in a 4-4 game until the Alfonso home run in the 9th. So the bullpen has an opportunity to give the Mets offense a chance to get back in the game, but Mahomes has given up 2 big base hits here.
Breaking ball away to Gilkey, 2-1. Rogers was gone after 1 out here in the 5th. Mahomes came in with a single to Williams, struck out Coburn, but then surrendered the double to Finley. And now gets Gilkey to sky it behind the plate. Piazza draws a beat on it, makes the catch. Steve Finley has given the Arizona Diamondbacks a big lead through 5. They're standing at the bottom for the 5-1 Arizona lead. Back in Buck Showalter's home field, how many Major League games did Buck Showalter play? And that's our Aflac trivia question tonight. Major League games that Arizona Diamondbacks manager Buck Showalter played. You have a half inning at home to answer it. We're guessing up here, but we'll just keep it to ourselves. The heart of the order for the Mets now has to do some business. 5-7-1 for Arizona, 1-3-0 for the Mets. Chris Berman, Ray Knight, Buck Martinez with you. Glad you stayed up. This exciting game 2 of the National League Division Series. Braves did what they had to do at home, coming back, and what a gem by Millwood today. Oh, by the way, he was their all-star pitcher, not the big three. A one-hitter, the homer to Caminetti, that was it. So they came back to now make that a 1-1 series heading to Houston. Can the Diamondbacks, in exactly the same spot, home team losing game 1, can they come back and win game 2? Certainly made their case thus far.
I think this is a big inning right here for Stottlemyre. Anytime that your team puts up runs is so critical to come back and shut that opposition down and give them any chance to get back in the game that quickly.
Over to left field. But clear corn for Luis Gonzalez. One down here in the New York 6th.
So often you'll have a game or games where starting pitchers are out there. Their offense scores 2 runs in the first. They give up 3 in the second. Their offense comes back and scores 2 in the second. They give up 1. And you never get that feeling of momentum or that you have the game under control. Right now, this game is definitely under control of Arizona. And it's up to Stottlemyre to slam it.
Mike Piazza fouls off the first pitch. Singled in the first inning last night, Ray, but 0 for 6 with 3 Ks since.
And another thought too, and this is really crucial, you're in the 6th inning, so you wade through the middle part of this lineup. Now you only have to face them 1 more time, and you hope that's with your closer.
Hey, there's Randy, hitting star last night. Would love to pitch game 5 here Sunday night if it goes that far. You know, 6 straight postseason losses don't sit too well with the big fella. He wants another shot here. I'll talk to him tonight a little bit. I was quick to point out that my shirt and tie didn't match. He notices things like that. I told him I dressed off the top of the pile. It was the next shirt and the next tie available. So he seemed all right. He just wants another chance. Meanwhile, Stottlemyre has struck out Mike Piazza, who has now struck out 4 times in his 7 at-bats after his single in the first. Buck Martinez, Mike Piazza this series.
Having a tough time, and now against Stottlemyre, he's 5 for 21. Good sequence with the fastball inside. Makes another pitch with a slider, and then look at the glove of the catcher. He wants it upstairs, and Stottlemyre delivers with a 4-run cushion. He didn't waste 1 pitch to Piazza.
Starts Robin Ventura off with a strike. Ventura grounded to second, reached on a walk. We started to talk about it. The 15th postseason appearance for Todd Stottlemyre. 9th start. Last year, pitching for the Texas Rangers, pitched a gem at Yankee Stadium. Remember game 2? Lost 2-0. Went the route. David Wells beat him in a 2-0 game in game 2. Also in the division series, a game Buck, you and I did in '96. Game 1, San Diego at St. Louis. A game won by the Cardinals 3-1. So in the division series, he's pitched beautifully. It's his LCSs in the World Series that statistically he has not done well. And he started one of the most humorous games that we can remember. He was a starting pitcher in the '93 World Series of Game 4. The one at Philadelphia won, what was that, 15-14 by the Blue Jays? Was that the score? He's pitched a couple innings, hurt himself running on the base pass, and had to wait around 6 hours to see who won that game. That was one of the more humorous ones ever. But he was replaced by Al Leiter in that game, by the way. Because that was got hurt hitting. But so he's made more postseason starts, Todd Stottlemyre, than Randy Johnson. You wouldn't think that, having pitched with Toronto and those other teams we mentioned. And he walks Ventura. Another note on Todd Stottlemyre. as he has now become one of a few pitchers to start in the postseason for 4 different teams. Diamondbacks tonight, and before that the Rangers, the Cards, and the Jays, joining Doyle, Brandy Alexander, and Danny Jackson, just in case you wanted to know. So there's our Todd Stottlemyre half-inning report.
Well, this will be Todd's 100th pitch. And you're starting to get in the area where the most pitches he's thrown since he's been back off of the DL was 103. Buck talked about before the ball game that the Mets would dictate whether or not Todd Stottlemyre stayed in the game deep. And now you're starting to get to a pitch count where you're going to start scrutinizing everything that he does. The Mets have had at least one base runner in every inning tonight.
Just haven't done much with it, which they have done, of course, in all their games in October, in which they are 5-0. Ricky's stolen 4 bases. Only 1 run to show. Jackson wants to get off the schneid. Now a little talk as pitching coach Mark Connor will go out to the mound with Stinnett and talk to Stottlemyre. Let's talk about Arizona's bullpen before you get to Manti. Really, well, there's Darren Holmes, a righty. We'll probably see Zeke, Greg Swindell up pretty quickly. Plesac is more a 1 or 2 out pitcher to lefties only. We saw Schwinnard last night, who obviously was crestfallen after the grand slam, but a lot of people question why was he in there against Alfonso, but he's a single ball pitcher that already gotten 1 out to play to Matt Williams.
He's also the guy that's done the best job for Buck down the stretch, and you have to go with that. And Buck himself, he's just not certain about that middle to short relief to get him to Olsen and Manti. He feels good about Swindell, thinking Swindell can get 2 left-handers, a right-hander sandwich between left-handers. Plesac can get people out, but he doesn't feel real good about that 6th, 7th inning situation. He has Bennis down there now, and he said Bennis can give him 2 games in the 5 games, and Bennis would be long, another guy that sinking and slider. So he has some choices.
Ripped by Darrell Hamilton, 1 hop, bobbled, thrown by Velvet in time. So Ventura stranded, and we're heading to the bottom of the 6th with the Diamondbacks authoring a 5-1 lead. 5-1 Arizona, bottom of the 6th. How many major league games did Buck Showalter play in? Our Aflac trivia question answer: nada. Played in almost 800 minor league games after being the 5th round draft pick by the New York Yankees in 1977. Was an infielder, an outfielder, and a pitcher. Never made it to the big show until he managed the Yankees, and of course now managing the Diamondbacks. 2 different teams in the postseason. And Kelly Stinnett played a strong game here. Made a pick Ventura off second base. Was robbed of extra bases by Darrell Hamilton. Now has himself a base hit. Just one little note. The year Showalter was drafted in 1977. The 1st overall draft pick, 1977. Harold Baines still playing. 3rd overall pick, Paul Mauer, going to the Hall of Fame. No wonder it was tough for Buck to break in. My man Howie Discount Schwab on the case, feeding me some afternoon information, and we thank Howie for that.
Infield tight, bunt in order.
Stottlemyre pulls it back. He was 4 for 32 this year with 3 sacrifice bunts. Ray, a .213 lifetime hitter in and out of the National League. He's a good athlete, as you mentioned. His father, of course, pitched in the World Series 3 times for the '64 Yankees. Now Stottlemyre, obviously watching tonight. The Yankees with the night off, pitching coach for Joe Flores. Watching his team with a 1-0 lead, getting in action again tomorrow night against the Rangers. Boy, everything moving there. Stinnett moving, bat moving, ball moving. Nothing ended up where it should have, Ray.
No, but I like that play. Stottlemyre making good contact generally. And I tell you, a lot like when Keith Hernandez was at first, you get a quick break from your 3rd baseman. Olerud staying to respect the possibility of a hit and run over there to hold a runner close so that he doesn't get too big a jump, so he can kill a shortstop or second baseman down there.
Very Tony Oliva-like. There's a pop bunt, which then they will let go, and what a smart play by the Mets. So 2 nights in a row, the Arizona pitchers do not do the job as far as running goes. What a smart play.
Yeah, and it's something that you talk about all the time with your pitchers. Anytime you pop a ball up, or your infielders or your outfielders, any player that you have, when you pop the ball up, you've got to take off, because that sets up that trap-type play. Stottlemyre popped the ball up, sits there and watches at it because he's upset. You don't even see him out of there yet. Finally, when it's on the ground, he starts running. That's a little too late.
Well, that's just heads up by Ventura, watching the ball and watching the batter's box.
Well, he really hadn't, right. He had no choice. When you pop the ball up there and the runner stands in the batter's box, there's no way that he's going to beat the round-the-horn throw if you make a good throw to second base. The key there is that's very difficult to do on AstroTurf, because the ball bounces, and oftentimes when it's bunted that high, will bounce high enough that the runner will be safe at second. But on natural grass, you can do that. Ventura playing most of his career on natural grass with the White Sox and the Mets. I guess all of his career.
So we said 2 nights in a row, the pitchers, Randy, which we talked about, getting doubled off as thinking there were 2 outs instead of 1. And then Stottlemyre are both running themselves into double plays. Difference is Todd has the 5-1 lead.
Well, the key is not even worry about it now. That happens, and he's out there to pitch. He's got a 5-1 lead, 4-run cushion. So you just forget that and maybe talk about it a little bit tomorrow. But
Alfonso over to Olerud, and Tony Womack is gone. 7th inning stretch time for the Mets fans who are here in Arizona. Their team trails at 5-1. Where else could a night at the ballpark meet a night in the bubbler? If you're in right center field, and well, I guess they rent that thing out for what, $4,000 a night? You can bring 35 of your closest friends and watch the game from the pool. Well, she was here last night. The babe's gone. The babe said about that. She probably would have enjoyed that, watching the game from the pool. He may have done that. At any rate, 7th inning here. Cedeno, Ordonez, Kenny Rogers. The pitcher spot. So a pinch hitter for Mahomes. And then we shall see. Cedeno singled in the 2nd, rounded out the 2nd and the 4th. Chris Berman, Ray Knight, Buck Martinez. Hope you're enjoying our day-night doubleheader yesterday, our day-night doubleheader today, as the division series hit the ground running. It's always a fun time of year for us, and I know for all baseball fans, and I know this game is late. It's exciting morning, afternoon, night. We're just happy to be able to bring you baseball. Struck him out. So that's a 6th strikeout for Todd Stottlemyre as we look at the new era in-game box for the Mets. Ricky has gotten 2 hits and stolen 2 bases and scored the Mets' lone run tonight. But look at the heart of the order, Ray. 0 for. If you look at 2, 3, 4, 5, 0 for 9. What a difference a night makes, huh? Bobby Bonilla has moved into the on-deck circles. This one will be out of play, so Bobby Bo, who had a big pinch hit in one of the Atlanta games when the Mets went in 1 game out. Had a big pinch hit. So it has not been used too much by Bobby Valentine, but certainly he's. Well, this one's hit pretty well by Ordonez. Running the corner is Luis Gonzalez, and it's off the wall. Ordonez into second base. They really didn't expect him to pull the ball like that. A long run for Gonzalez, who smacked it pretty hard.
A very tough play there. That ball right up against the chain link fence out there. Only part of the ballpark that is not padded. A hanging breaking ball. Ordonez hitting his first home run of the season about 2 weeks ago, but really gallant effort, about a half an inch short. The padded poles, but not the chain link fence, or actually a netting out there. See how that fence comes in there right in front of the bullpen, only probably about 25 feet as it goes into that funny little triangle out there.
Where's Bobby Bonilla, who against Stottlemyre lifetime is a paltry 1 of 13, 0.77. But this is different now, where you figure, well, if he's up, Ray, with no one on and 2 outs, Bobby Bo can hit the long ball, and if he does make it 2 of 14, a long ball can turn this game into a different complexion right away. And there's the left-hander Dan Plesac, the right-hander Greg Olson. Both, along with Greg Swindell, have been closers for teams in their past. So it's an interesting makeup of setup guys who used to be closers.
We talk about the home run. Stottlemyre staying away from Bonilla, way away from him. 2 fastballs away, then another fastball off the plate away.
In the Mets bullpen, Octavio Dotel will get the call with Bonilla batting for the pitcher Mahomes. Octavio Dotel. That's courtesy of my son, Doug Vernon. He's not up right now watching this series plug. If he is, it's a school night. You know, I'm going to talk to him. Oh, Stottlemyre thought he had it. So did the crowd. Tough one. So did Buck. Tough one to take, Ray.
Well, he just sets this ball up outside, throws the ball right there. The ball moves a little bit off the plate. I think it's the right call, but it's one of those pitches you see right here, outside movement, reaches outside his shin guard there. Now, I don't know that Stottlemyre wasn't checking the swing of Bonilla. I saw him point to the third base umpire. Talking about supreme concentration. This guy has already gone farther in this ball game than I expected. I mean, he's up around 115 pitches. Mentioned an inning or so ago, 103, the most that he has thrown since he's come back from his stint on the DL.
Matt Williams, will he have room? Yes. Bonilla has fouled out to Williams. And they're 2 down here in the 7th.
And if Stottlemyre gets through this inning, he's done exactly what Buck Martinez needs. Buck Martinez, hey, my man, I need to hear from you down there. Buck Showalter needs for him to do, because you get to the point in that bullpen where Olson sets up for you, Manti closes, or Swindell will set up and Manti will close. Gets him past that 6th and 7th inning speed bump, which he doesn't feel real comfortable about.
Ricky Henderson 2 for 3. Trying to change around this stat. The Mets, who are 5 for 5 in October, tonight doing nothing with runners in scoring position and almost nothing with runners aboard. The only run they got was on a single. Third inning. Ground out by Oliver, I should say. Scored Ricky Henderson.
Boy, Stott throws Henderson an awful lot of fastballs. I'm guessing that's why Ricky's hitting about almost 400 now with the 2 hits tonight, lifetime against him. But a pretty clean line there. The 4 base on balls, he's not done those. They've not hurt him at all. 118 pitches. And you see Mark Connor coming out to check on him, so you certainly don't want to take him past a point to where it's going to affect him for the rest of these playoffs, although he won't start another game in this playoff.
Well, with Mark Connor out on a mound, guys. The big thing about Stottlemyre's performance tonight, he's held the Mets to just 4 hits over 6 2/3. And the location and the fact that his velocity has maintained itself all throughout the first 6 2/3 innings is a testimony to the diligent work that Stottlemyre put in to get himself back into this rotation. His command has been outstanding all night long.
If you tuned in late, you were watching the exciting finish perhaps of the Red Sox-Indians game, or maybe the exciting finish of the bowling on ESPN before us. Todd Stottlemyre, 3/4 tear of his rotator cuff, said, forget it to surgery. I'm going to build up muscles around my rotator cuff and my legs so I don't have to rely on it so much, and I want to pitch. 34 years of age, my team's going hopefully at the time of the postseason. I want to contribute, and boys, he contributed tonight. So that's the other part of the story of all these pitches tonight and the gutsy performance and the 1 run on 4 hits here as he tries to get free of the 7th inning. In there for a strike.
Look at him, 93 miles an hour. This is just sheer guts. That's his best fastball of the night. Just sheer guts right here.
And you know what? The crowd might sense this is his last pitch, and they want to send him off big time if he can dispose of Ricky Anderson.
It was probably going to be his last pitch if he doesn't dispose of it.
No.
Well, I mean, if he walks him or if base hit.
Got you on a technicality.
You got me on a technicality.
Ordonez at second with 2 outs. Steve Finley with 4 RBIs and Todd Stottlemyre with a gem thus far. Up top with a breaking ball, and Henderson is aboard. So now, as well as he's pitched.
That's it. That's got to be it.
Right?
Yep.
Edgardo Alfonso homered last night in the first. Grand slam in the 9th to win it.
The only thing is you've got Olerud behind him. There's no problem with the batting order because your 2-hole hitter is up. But now, again, to go back to what Buck says.
Here comes Buck right now.
Yep.
So this should be a rousing applause for Todd Stottlemyre, who pitched his guts out tonight. And it is. Well done, young man. Well done. Can Alfonso get the Mets in business against Olsen?
ESPN's coverage of the divisional playoffs is brought to you by TGI Fridays, home of the Jack Daniels Grill, and by Isuzu. We don't make cars because life is too big for cars.
Nighttime in Phoenix as the Arizona Diamondbacks lead the Mets 5-1 here in the 7th, but not so fast. Todd Stottlemyre departs, and pitch count of what, 122, Ray? What a gutsy performance.
Great performance.
And now Greg Olson, one-time closer for the Orioles, who in a 3-year span from 90 to 92 had 104 saves, but now he's a setup man. And boys, it's set up for the Mets. Their heavy-hitting second baseman, Edgardo Alfonso, at the plate with 2 on. And look at the start. The Mets have double stolen. Ordonez and Henderson, who just kind of goes along with his 5th stolen base. By the way, look at the jump, especially by Ordonez.
Well, you look how slow and long Olson's delivery is. And the advanced scouts have watched all prospective teams over the last couple of months, actually all year long. You know that Greg Olson is slow. He throws that big curveball about every other pitch.
So this allowed just a single to make it a 5-3 game. By the way, for Ricky, his 5th stolen base. If you're wondering who's had the most in one series postseason ever, it's him. Remember the 89 A's in the ALCS against Toronto. That was just a 5-game series. He had 8. Lou Brock had 7 twice in the World Series. for the Cardinals against Boston and against Detroit. So Ricky already has 5 stolen bases, but Olsen ahead 0-2 here to Alfonso. Knew he was going nowhere near the plate.
Olsen, Chris, pretty much a 2-pitch pitcher. Fastball, 4-seam fastball, and the big curveball. You mentioned closing for the Orioles. He was actually the closer for this ball club last year, 30 saves, and until Matt Manti was acquired, he already had rung up 14 saves, so he's been in those pressure situations many times. Has lost 3 or 4 miles an hour off his fastball. He used to gas it up there about 95. High 4-seam fastball, belt high, and then drop that curveball right there on top of you.
Slow roller, Williams. Colton. Olsen does his job, and the 5-1 lead is intact. 7th inning stretch time in Arizona. 5-1 Diamondbacks. Chris Berman, Ray Knight, Buck Martinez with you back in downtown Phoenix. 7th inning stretch time here at the Diamondbacks, and this crowd of over 49,000 hoping to see the first ever postseason victory by the home squad. Octavio Dotel is in the pitch for the Mets. Youngster that came up in the minors middle of the season, and at time it was a blazer with an 8-3. It's either feast or famine. You could see when you work mostly as a starter, Ray, and you got 85 Ks and 85 and a third. No question what he throws.
Well, he reminds a lot of people of Pedro Martinez with the way that he slings the ball. His fastball in the mid-90s, slider, changeup. You see his slider is 78 miles an hour, not quite as hard a slider as Pedro Martinez, but he does have the same arm action, the same quick movement with his left knee to get him started right there.
Fouled off by Jay Bell, 1-2.
He came up and did a great job. The Mets were 10-4 games, and he started 8-3. Record for Dotel. He didn't have a real good earned run average, 5.38, but that's back when the Mets were scoring about 7 runs a game. Just 23 years old out of San Domingo, Dominican Republic.
Bell hits it to left field. Back goes Ricky Henderson. Back he goes and makes the catch on the track. Bell's had a strong night at the plate with a home run bid there and has singled before twice tonight. Scored both times. Our new era box score tonight for the Arizona Diamondbacks. We told you about Bell's night. Matt Williams got off the schneid with a pair of base hits, and he also scored 2 runs. But the big star tonight, Steve Finley. A 2-out single in the 3rd, a 2-out double in the 5th. 4 RBIs total, and that's why the Diamondbacks have the 5-1 lead. And you know, sometimes Ray and Buck Martinez, as we see Luis Gonzalez come in, you know, you get away with some mental errors. I mean, tonight the Diamondbacks have hardly played a perfect game. Jay Bell booted a double play ball, but then later atoned in turning a double play. Stottlemyre didn't run out the bunt attempt and ran himself into a double play. And then Olsen kind of got lazy, Buck. The first pitch, it's a good time for the Mets to steal, and they were wise to it. But they've gotten away with it tonight, Buck.
Well, Chris, it's concentration, and they can't continue to make mistakes. Last night, Randy Johnson forgot how many outs there were. Stottlemyre didn't run on the popped-up bunt. And then Olsen forgot about the base runners. You get a base hit right there, and all of a sudden it's a 2-run game. So they're going to have to eliminate these mental mistakes.
But it's nice to make him when you're up 5-1.
And there's reasons for that, Chris. You're in a situation you've never been in, or even if you've been in them, there's nothing like it. And you're concentrating so hard on your job. And in both cases, Stottlemyre, a pitcher, not running it out. A pitcher on second base, not holding on a fly ball. And they primarily do all their preparation in getting other people out. But that's why the teams like the Atlanta Braves have been so successful, because their pitchers do everything.
Swung through the fastball by Gonzalez, 3-2.
And they've done some good things too. After the Jay Bell boot, the great I'll be there play on the bunted Great through ball by Cedeno that Stinnett threw. Great throw to peg Ventura at second base.
Gonzalez a walk, and here comes Matt Williams. 2 for 3, scored both times that he singled.
It takes a little time to get your emotions in check. You're playing here at home, first time for a playoff here in this city. First time for a lot of guys, although Jay Bell talked about maybe 10 guys on their ball club have had playoff experience.
Big hole between third and short for Matt Williams, but he goes the other way, and a long run for Cedeno, and too far because it's in the seats, so it didn't matter how far it was, but ball could have plunked down a little quicker. You certainly don't play Matty to hit it down the right field line, that's for sure. Both teams will fly tonight after the game, Ray, and that's always a classic. The old red eye from the west.
At least they fly charters up.
Yeah.
It's not that tough when they pick you up at the airport in a bus, drop you off right there on the tarmac at the foot of the plane, at the base of the plane. You walk up, they have your dinner ready. It's a tough life, man.
They get there about 8 in the morning. I mean, they don't have to change at O'Hare like we do.
Do what?
Change planes at O'Hare like midway through the flight.
Not hardly.
I did last week. That's always fun. That puts hair on your chest. Each team will get to New York about 8 o'clock in the morning. Have tomorrow off for the workout, I imagine, the afternoon at Chase Stadium, then game 3 on Friday night. Avin holds up like this. Oh, a shot past Ventura. Gonzalez is safe at third, and Williams is in with a double. So he is woken up in a big way. A little chopper for a single, and then a sharp single, and now a double. So the big fella going for Arizona, and with runners at second and third, they have a chance to really open this up. Should Ventura have had that ball? I know it was a shot. But he had him played in the line, Ray.
Well, the ball's backhanded, the ball just laid down. I think Matty just knew it soon, but you're going to see right here, this ball hits one hop there. He tries to go get it, didn't really react to it. He could have dove and knocked that ball down, but I don't think he saw that ball well. A lot of times on balls down and in, as you stride, it's difficult to see the bat barrel because the ball kind of disappears in there. Same way as an inside-out swing from a left-hander. I don't think Ventura saw that ball off the bat very well.
Well, the Mets playing the infield in with 1 out in a 5-1 game, and Greg Colburn has an RBI tonight on a bases-loaded walk up at the plate.
Every once in a while, Chris, you get caught in between. Playing third base, you have to actually look out in front of home plate because every ball is hit to you from a right-handed batter. The bat barrel is way out front, so if you're looking back at the plate, then you're not going to see the ball well. You've got to be focused out in front of the plate.
Robin doesn't miss many. I mean, let's give him his due.
No, he doesn't. He's a great defensive player.
But the play he made tonight earlier, huh?
Yeah.
On Jay Bell in the first inning.
It just appeared to me, generally over there, it's just a quick reaction, short step, backhand, or a dive. And he had a little stutter step there as if he did not see that ball come off the plate. I mean, come off the bat at the plate.
9 hits now for the Diamondbacks to only 4 for the Mets.
Infield. Bobby Valentine does a lot of things with his inner defense. He starts his infielders back about halfway here. You cannot afford another run to score here. So what they're doing is they're playing back. They're moving toward the plate to make sure that any ball hit in front of them, their momentum is taking them toward the plate. I really like this. A lot of guys just play right on the grass infield, cuts down their lateral movement, and also cuts down their ability to cover balls over their head.
Foul again. Guess who's on deck? The hitting star tonight for Arizona, 4 ribbies, Steve Finley. Barring a bizarre play, he certainly should come up with RISP. It's not a misspell of an Aretha Franklin song. It's runners in scoring position. Risps. Good to have those risps. Well, now when Bobby contests that, he's out to talk to the home plate umpire, Wally Bell, saying, "Now, wait a minute. I know it hit his hand, but what do you think here? I mean, it's not going to be vehement, but what do you do here as this kid?"
This is a real tough call. If he's attempting to swing at the ball and the ball hits your hand and there's a swing, it's a swing. But if the ball hits you and you're attempting to get out of the way, then it doesn't matter if your hands are on the bat or not. Then you go to first base uncontested. This is a very difficult play. It's a tough play to see. It's a tough play to, even as a manager, understand what the ruling is. But we're going to see right here, fastball. Sometimes they hit the knob of the bat. That ball looked like it hit the knob of the bat right there. Now he's shaking his hand as if the ball hit him, but that looked like, to me, it clearly hit the knob of the bat. I had that happen one time. I wanted to hit so bad I didn't shake my hand. My manager talked to me about it. Bases loaded, Vern Rapp in AAA. Ended up flying out, and he said if I'd have shook my hand and gone on down there, but I was too honest, man. I wanted to hit. I knew it was a foul ball. It hit the knob of my hand, not my bat.
Well, so you're saying that honesty is not the best policy, at least in this particular case. Well, here's Finley, who has driven in 4 runs tonight and has a chance to bust in some more.
Well, interesting thing here, Bobby, with a 4-1, 5-1 deficit, had nobody up in the bullpen. He just now got somebody up, and Dave Wallace is going out there now to bide some time, and he'll spend some time out there and be out there as long as the umpire will let him. How
about the way I love the facial expressions. I mean, Bobby went out to contest with Wally Bell. It was more like a well, it was so unconfrontational, but he probably, are you sure you saw it? Are you really sure you saw it? Did he try to get out of the way? It was just an interesting facial expression on Bobby. And you can see the difference in the bullpen, Ray. They've just given up the 1 run they're charged with, but Rogers had the guys on before he left. How about Steve Finley tonight? 4 RBIs. His previous 18 postseason games, he only had 4 RBIs. Seemed low to me, but now that number is 8, a whole lot more respectable, and guess what? Chance to do some more. A little more room in the left center field gap as Hamilton has him shaded a couple of steps in the outfield to right field. 2-0.
He's locked in. He's locked in. You can see it right now. And one thing that gets you locked in is when you've already had success driving runners in that night. Now, everything is just gravy. You don't feel like, oh, man, I've got to do something here. He's already got 4 RBIs tacked up there. So he's confident and relaxed and dangerous.
Hey, he'll take an RBI on a base on balls.
You better believe it. I'll tell you what, he is locked in now. The right-handed batter on deck, I wouldn't be surprised.
Jerry Colangelo, the owner. Three and 1 now, the count. What's the pitch? Fast?
He got to come right at it.
3 and 2. He's battled back. Same thing.
Got to come right at him. Can't trick him. His best pitch is a fastball. And this is mano-mano right here.
Payoff pitch. Ball 4. 5 RBIs for Finley. 6-1 Arizona. And now it's Bernard Gilkey to bat with the bases loaded. Or we'll have a pinch hitter. It's going to be Turner Ward to be announced as a pinch hitter. The bat from the left-hand side.
Well, Turner's a switch hitter, so it doesn't matter right here. Another guy that's paid his dues, boy. A battler, played there with Jimmy Leland in Pittsburgh. One of those guys that just can swing the bat, goes hard, never has really found a position.
Ray, he was out of baseball in the middle of this season. Is Dave Wallace going to make the move? Well, maybe they'll just talk. But he was released by Pittsburgh right after he rehabbed his right knee. He was out of baseball, and then signed by Arizona in the summer. Played 49 games. So here's a guy midway through the season. He's for sure watching on TV, and now here he is in the postseason. Well, you're right. As a switch hitter, I mean, the move to Franco doesn't make a difference as far as the strategy goes, but they're going to do it anyway. And John Franco, the man who in the majors waited the longest in his career to participate in the postseason, will have his first ever opportunity. One Diamondbacks here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Turner Ward, the pinch hitter, and that is brought on from the bullpen John Franco, who pitched in 878 games before he's appeared in his first postseason game. Oddly enough, the Diamondbacks' Dan Plesac, second most among active pitchers who has not participated in the postseason. Here he is. So Franco doesn't have to surpass Lindy McDaniel for the all-time pitcher, and of course, a long way to go as far as games played for Ernie Banks. But here's Franco, turned 39 on September 17th in his 16th season, Ray, and finally in the postseason. Was a member of the Reds when the Mets were making postseason in the 80s, then was traded for Randy Myers when the Reds started making the postseason and Franco became a Met. So he's waited a long time. He was so happy last night. He had that grin from ear to ear. Now he has a chance to do something about it, although he would wish he could come in without the bases loaded with his team down 6-1. He wishes it were another situation. Little chopper. But Alfonso has but one play to make. Ward tries to dive in to beat it. He doesn't, but it'll go as an RBI ground out. I mean, Franco did the job, but it was an AstroTurf type hop, and it's now 7-1 D-backs.
Makes a pitch, that changeup away. Turner just drills it off the plate. Only one play for Alfonso. This is just called damage control here, Chris, when you come in and bases loaded and one out. You'd like to get out of there with nobody scoring, but you just want to get outs.
So now he'll face Kelly Stinnett with runners still at second and third in a 7-1 game. Ventura bobbles, then throws. Stinnett is gone, but Arizona has hung another 2 spot on the Mets. New Yorkers run here in October. At least the perfect run may be running out. They got 2 innings with which to do something about it. Wheels turning a little bit here for the Diamondbacks with a 7-1 lead in the top of the 8th inning. Hanley Frias, for defensive purposes, has moved into shortstop, which will put Tony Womack, the starting shortstop, in right field. And the new pitcher is the left-hander, and you know a little bit, Ray, Greg Swindell.
Zeke, 14th year for Greg Swindell. After starting for 10 years, been regulated to the bullpen the last 4, has done a tremendous job for this ball club here. 2.51 earned run average, appearing in 63 ball games. 64 innings, just 54 hits. Punched out 51 there.
And he gets John Olerud on a slow roller, and it'll be handled by Colburn himself. There is one out. If you're scoring at home, Frias is batting in the 9 hole in the pitcher slot, and Swindell, the pitcher, will bat in the 7 slot, the slot that Turner Ward just pinch hit. We know many of you do score at home, and we appreciate it. It's a good way to follow a ball game. Sports Center, I know it's a little past 2 o'clock Eastern, a little past 11 o'clock Pacific. Kenny Mayne, Stuart Scott ready to rumble. An update on the Pedro Martinez injury. Unfortunate, certainly, with the Red Sox leading and Cleveland winning on the Fryman hit in the bottom of the ninth. Bobby back under center for the Broncos in their 0-4 sputter, now without TD. We'll have the latest on Mike Shanahan's moves, all the football, all the baseball. Reaction from Atlanta as the Braves even it up behind the gym by Kevin Millwood. More, Ray and I'll have a little bit on this game. We'll have some reaction from Gary Miller. Some of the stars, certainly Steve Finley. It's coming up on SportsCenter when we're done here at the Bob. Mike Piazza, 4 strikeouts in his last 7 at-bats here against Arizona pitchers. And he's behind 1-2.
I don't know that I've seen Mike this uncomfortable at the plate. Buck alluded to it before, how he's... Go ahead, Buck.
No, I got a thought here, and I not that I'm any genius here. There's a little shooter that may get him going for the homestand at Shea. When you have flown from time zone to time zone and playing pressure-packed games, and you don't know what time it is, and you're 3 games in 3 cities, and oh, by the way, it's October, and oh, by the way, you're the catcher. I don't care how sturdy you are. I mean, it's got to affect him more than anyone else. I mean, he's just tired. Right? I mean, I'm not a rocket scientist figuring this out.
I can buy
I mean, he hasn't had a day off, right?
I can buy that. And one thing, when your legs aren't underneath you, it always makes you lunge, and that's what he's doing. He's just going out after the ball, just way over aggressive.
Look at Ventura lay one down, and Matt Williams. Does he make this look easy or what? Looks like it's a day at the beach when he goes in on these plays.
Well, he's the best. You're talking about a man that's 6'3", 215, 220, coming in here with this kind of coordination, sets himself, look how he sets himself, gets his right foot planted to make the throw, never seems to rush, never seems to get out of order. Look how he sets himself, gets his right foot set, so that he's throwing off of his back foot and has some velocity on the throw, and ever accurate. No wonder he's won that thing 4 times.
Oh, man.
It's going to be between he and Ventura for the 5th one this year.
And that was a great play by Ventura because, I mean, most players have no chance to make that play. Robin, who's played heads up tonight, missed it. It's interesting. He let that shot go under his glove by Williams. Okay, now I'm going to get you back, but Matty went up. Benny Akbayani will be the pinch hitter here for Darrell Hamilton. No. And you had a feeling, Benny, what did he strike out 3 times last night in his start against Randy Johnson? I mean, you had a feeling that might happen as much as the Mets veterans hit him. But Akbayani has really become one of the favorite of Met fans.
Well, let me tell you a theory I have about him. Watch how his leg kick is so high, and you can't hit unless your foot gets back on the ground. He bombarded National League pitching early in the year because everybody threw him fastballs. Now, what happens when you've got that big a leg kick and that much movement on the lower part of your body? When you start throwing pitches soft, their foot gets down and their body goes forward, and then you have nothing left. So they figured Akbayani out pretty early and not throwing him a lot of fastballs.
I know it's late in New York, but where Akbayani's from, it's prime time. 8 o'clock in Honolulu, but they've seen the young man from the island of Oahu ground out to Hanley Frias. Bottom of the 8th here in Arizona. 7-1 Diamondbacks. Chris Berman, Ray Knight, Buck Martinez with you here in Phoenix past 11 o'clock Pacific time, past 2 o'clock in the East. Aloha in Honolulu, and our Clarendon game summary. And tell you what, it was the right medicine for Arizona tonight. Todd Stottlemyre provided it on the mound. Steve Finley with a pair of 2-out hits, 2-out single for 2 runs, 2-out double for 2 runs, and a bases loaded walk. The big fella got going, Matt Williams in the cleanup spot. Meanwhile, the 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Mets, 1 for 11. John Franco now begins the 9th inning. Roger Cedeno goes from right field to center field, and that's because Benny Akbayani, who pinch hit for the center fielder Hamilton, stays in the game in right field. This is Hanley Frias, went in the game shortstop defensively last half inning. We shouldn't be surprised at the way the Diamondbacks approach this, that not only Stottlemyre, but they went with a game plan at the plate, although it took them a little while to get going. this is a team that won 100 games. It wasn't going to roll over in their home park, Ray. I mean, it wasn't going to be, okay, it's October, the Mets, you're here, you're in. Steve Finley leading the charge with 5 RBIs. So maybe we're digging in for a 5-game little mini series here between these two, Ray. What do you think? Well, and if that's the case, Randy would go Sunday night here, Game 5.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's two pretty evenly matched ball clubs. I think the only real glaring difference to me is the Mets have such great inner defense. And maybe a little better bullpen when you think of Wendell and Benitez, Mahomes, Cook and Franco.
Frias strikes out. That'll bring up Tony Womack, who is now the right fielder. Buck, you talked about it before the game, and Ray, but Buck, you're down with the Diamondbacks, as were we, and they weren't worried before the game. Maybe just a little more dialed in, do you think?
Yeah, I think so, Chris. And the big thing about it is I talked to several of their players, and they went through some stretches this season where they lost some real tough games. And even though Randy Johnson got beat, the media around Phoenix was saying, oh, no, here we go. It's going to come to an end. The big unit got beat. The players never felt that way.
Fair ball. Olerud over to Franco, covering nicely. You know, this team, we told you about the together team they are, and I asked Matt Williams, with so many new guys coming in, how'd you get together so close so fast?
I don't know why it is, because we never really talked about it, but I know that we lead the league in fastest home run trots. I know we lead the league in leaving egos at the door. Because when we step in the clubhouse, they all get left at the door. Luis Gonzalez hits 350 all year, and he lays down sacrifice bunts. Jay Bell bunts on his own. He's got almost 40 homers. And nobody asked him to do that.
Everybody contributes. Don't have to be the big names. Jay Bell bounces out to Ordonez. Very likable, very professional team, the Diamondbacks, who are 3 outs away from their first ever postseason win. Barring a huge 9th inning by the Mets, the Diamondbacks will even this series at 1 game apiece as we are 7-1 in the top of the 9th. Sean Dunston will be the pinch hitter for Roger Cedeno against Greg Swindell, and it starts off with strike 1. Sports Center with Kenny Mayne and Stuart Scott following the 9th inning here. And so we get set probably for 2 games in New York. Game 4 of which will be on ESPN Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. And that'll be quite a scene at Shea Stadium. And Game 3, Rick Reed against Omar Dahl. Game 4, Al Leiter against Brian Anderson. And then Bobby will probably go back with his Game 1 starter, although we don't know that, Masato Yoshi, if we go 5 against Randy Johnson. Oral Hershiser is pretty much in the bullpen, although if he gets a gut feeling, Oral really doesn't pitch very much. He could pitch Oral in Game 5 against Randy Johnson if we go that far, though I don't think that's his plan.
I don't think so, not with Yoshi pitching as well as he did. I think his game plan has been to have Oral out there for long relief. You need him for a couple of ball games. And Yoshi wasn't extended that much last night, so you never know with Bobby, though.
Well, now this series is settling in. I mean, the Mets came in on an adrenaline rush. Sunday against Pittsburgh, the celebration. Monday night in Cincinnati. The Tuesday night in Arizona. And all of a sudden, the Diamond Legs have gotten there. I don't know if they call them sea legs here living in Arizona, but they're, you know, their playoff feet are wet. And now they look like the team that won 100 games. As Swindell strikes out Dunston, will bring up Ray Ordonez. A final thank you to the Snoopy 2 MetLife blimp tonight, cruising at 1,200 feet, helping us provide the great pictures this evening here from Bank One Ballpark, the Bob. Or I guess in the playoffs it's more formal. Do we have to call it the Robert? I don't know. Just a question. So maybe Game 5 back here, but now we know we'll go at least 4. A reminder that all 8 previous National League series, whoever has won division series, whoever's won the first game, has won the entire series. Now, that would mean history would be on the side of Houston and the Mets. The Braves and Arizona have come back, so maybe this is the year that perfect streak is.
That's one of those stats just begging to be corrected. That's what that is.
And I think we cannot underscore the job that Todd Stottlemyre has done, A, to get back on the field in August, and B, to deliver in a game like this. And Buck Martinez, you've known him well. You talked to him a lot. Guts and a little bit of pitching this evening for Mr. Stottlemyre.
Well, also the playoff experience, and even though his team was down and they needed a win, he went out there and pitched very effectively. And then Finley, of course, with the big RBI night. This is the full package. This is a good ball club.
Ordonez is gone. Swindell over to first baseman Colburn. And Todd avenging Andy Pratt, the pinch hitter, will be the final hope for the New York Mets, whose perfect run in October is very close to coming to a close. But we have ourselves some series here, boys and girls. Ray, we got a team that won 97 games, another team that's won 100 games. I don't think someone was going to run off and lead 2-0.
No, and I look at the Houston and the Braves series, the two series that we have covered, and I see really comparable. No outstanding team, or all outstanding teams, but no team that sets itself apart.
$49,328 enjoying the view tonight in downtown Phoenix. And it's 1-1 to Todd Pratt. Buck Showalter is so quiet and different than Bobby Valentine, and I think the teams reflect the personality of their respective managers. And now one strike away from Arizona winning their first ever postseason game. Little history on tap tonight. Last night was Alfonso with the 5 RBIs. Tonight it's Steve Finley that's turned the tide. This should do it. And the Diamondbacks, as Bell squeezes it, have evened the series. 7-9-1 for Arizona, 1-5-0 for the New York Mets. 5 RBIs for Steve Finley, and the win for Todd Stottlemyre. Dig in, huh, Ray? Sports Center coming up next. Hope you enjoyed it here at the Bob. For Buck Martinez and Ray Knight, I'm Chris Berman. This National League Division Series is tied up at 1. Ricky ran, but the Mets could not run and hide from the effort of the Arizona Diamondbacks. 7-1, Arizona wins it here in the desert. We'll see you over the weekend. Now Sports Center.
Todd Stottlemyre, pitching hero, and Todd, when you walked off the mound in May against San Francisco, you wondered where your career was going to be. Here you are with the first postseason win in Diamondbacks history, going the longest you've gone all year, no pitch count. How do you sum up this evening?
Well, it's been a long and grueling one, but this has been such a great team to watch while I was on the DL, and you know, I just pushed real hard through my rehab. I wanted to be a part of it. I seen something special going on. This is a special group of guys. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Did you doubt your decision not to have shoulder surgery, or did you think this was a special season? I may have a chance to pitch in a really huge game, and surgery will wipe out my year.
Well, there was a lot. Obviously, there was a lot of uncertainty. I think that, you know, through the first 5 or 6 weeks without picking up a baseball, I didn't know what it was going to be like. And you know, I came back the first day I played catch. I wasn't really sure. Second day, I felt great, and I felt great ever since. And just thankful, you know, Dr. Zeman, Dr. McCoy have been great. The 2 trainers, Paul Assard and Dave Edwards, have spent numerous hours with me. Mark Connor, he spent the whole All-Star break with me. Those guys came early every day, put numerous hours in with me, and I got a lot to be thankful for.
Talk about that 4th inning where they had something going, got a couple of men on, they tried to bunt, and you get Ventura picked off second base, where the tide kind of turned in that inning.
Well, Kelly did a great job all night, not only calling the game, but that was a huge play, and then we were able to get the ground ball on the next one and get a double play. So it seemed like I was in trouble every inning, but I told Kelly before the game we got together, and we were just going to try to go at him, use our defense, and see what was happening. Guys came up big tonight.
Okay, well, best of luck going to New York, and Todd Stottlemyre has come back in a huge way to win the first ever postseason game for the Arizona Diamondbacks as they even this series. Let's go back to the studio.